I recently went and played golf with Ping's new all-singing, all-dancing i59 iron, and it left a lot of questions. How do they really perform? Are they worth the staggering price tag? And how do they compare against the iBlade? Let's do it. And let's do it now. Hi everyone, James Robinson here guys. First things first, I'd like to welcome you all to the channel. I'd like to welcome you back to the channel if you're not new to the channel, but guys, if you are new to this YouTube channel, take 2 seconds, hit that subscribe button below and you won't miss any future daily golf related content. Today, now I've already reviewed these, but I haven't tested them for numbers because when I'm testing clubs for numbers, especially new clubs, I like to test them against the old model. And I was a little bit unsure about what the old model for the i59s is. And then I looked at the lofts, and the lofts are exactly the same as the Ping iBlade. So that's what we're going to go with. Today we're comparing the i59 against the iBlade. Guys, before we get started, get in the comments below, could you see yourself using the Ping i59s? Or could you see yourself saving a bit of money and trying to get into the iBlade? Now I've already hit a load of shots with 8 iron, 6 iron, 4 iron of the iBlade, and we'll talk through the numbers at the end together with the numbers of the i59. Feel-wise, I can already say the i59 does feel a little bit softer. The big story behind the i59 is MOI, is more forgiveness in a sleek, compact design. And already looking at these clubs from above, as you can see now, the top line's a little bit thinner. The whole club just looks in a little bit more of a compact design. That'll suit some people's eye, it won't suit everyone's eye. So it's mega important that you do go and try these clubs if you are thinking about gaming them, especially up to the 4 iron, because the 4 irons, I mean, it's not quite blueprint, but it's okay. It's not massive. I think we can agree on. So let's hit some more shots with the i59s. Let's check them for numbers. That's fantastic. 155, 7,100 spin. Now, for me, with an iron with this much technology in it, albeit this 8 iron is a loft of 38 degrees. The 6 iron we have is 30.5 degrees, and the 4 iron is 23.5 degrees. That's exactly the same as the iBlades, and you can also get these clubs in retro loft or power loft if you would like to. So that's probably something which I think a lot of people will look at maybe doing. Spin wise, 7,100 with an 8 iron, that's, for me, that's quite good. Looking down at the clubs, it doesn't quite fill you with confidence. I think it is a little bit more appetizing than the blueprint, and by a little bit more, it's a lot more appetizing than the blueprint. But I did say in my initial review of the i59s, not many people should really be gaming the blueprint iron at all. That is just delightful. Right, let's move up to the 6 iron, and straight away you can see that the sole is a little bit thinner on the new i59 as opposed to the iBlade. And also, as I mentioned right at the start of the video, the blade length looks a little bit shorter and the top line is a little bit thinner. Okay, it's quite a lot thinner now. I've got them both hand in hand. But the huge story with the i59s is this lead weight that's not only in the toe, but also in the heel to allow more MOI in a smaller club head. Actually, Ping do claim this is the same MOI level as an i210. Which is quite frightening to think, really. However, when I played with these, because it is obviously a smaller head, you still feel, you're not full of, I mean, they're not the most confidence inspiring, although they do look pretty sexy, if I'm being fair. Oh, that was delightful again. Now, feel-wise, like I said, I have already hit a load of iBlade shots. I don't want to bore you too much jumping in and out of the comparisons. I'm trying to keep these videos a little bit shorter for you, so let me know how you like that format. Feel-wise, the new i59 does definitely feel a little bit softer than these. However, I'm not sure if Ping fans will like that, because I know Ping fans generally do like that. I've tried to put a ping noise in there, and I'm not sure I can. That just hurt my finger, really. But I think you all kind of get what I mean with that. Interesting, that was a little bit bottomy. And the spins dropped. I did expect the distance to drop a little bit more there. We lost 3 yards on the previous shot, which felt fantastic. And that one felt not great. Interestingly, I am very happy with the dispersion on these so far. I seem to be striking it pretty well. And it's probably a good job because I wouldn't fancy an off day with these. However, I do think, and I said this in my initial review and I stand by it, I think there'll be some mid-handicappers that go for these and that fancy them. Maybe not in a full set, maybe in a split set, maybe in some kind of set with an i210 at the top or even an i500 at the top, but they look that good that generally companies do manage to tempt mid-handicap golfers or even the odd kind of high handicap golfer into short irons like this, because if they can strike it out the middle, the numbers are going to be there. Now, you should go and get fitted for these. You should go and try these if you are going to buy them. But if Ping are right in what they're saying, and we do have the MOI of an i210 in a shorter club, if you fancy your chances of striking out the middle more often than not, maybe that will be quite appealing for you down at the ball. I've absolutely ripped that one. That was wonderful. A little bit left, but we don't mind, we'll take it. Right, a couple more 6 irons, then we'll jump into the 4 iron. And these numbers are pretty much where I would expect, really. Maybe that last one was a little bit more, but coulda, shoulda. It is tempting. This Hydropearl 2.0 finish does look lovely. Okay, it's time. It's time for, I already said it, it's time for 4. That's a terrible joke. Now, I'm going to throw a little bit of a spoiler into the works here. The iBlade 4 iron averaged 204. With a couple of iffy strikes in there. So if I can throw in a handful of similar shots, I think 210 to 215 is manageable with this 4 iron, which is there or thereabouts for what I would expect a 4 iron to be. I've nailed that, and that's 204, it's exactly the same. That's a lovely height. Can we just have a moment's appreciation for... It's not often we get that with a long iron, so I'm quite happy with that. And that almost didn't feel Ping-like, which might upset a few people, but I mean, I always do prefer a softer feeling iron. I just always have, and I always will. I know some Ping fans prefer that harder feel. That wasn't a great strike. It's another one, it's 203, spinning at 4,000, ball speed 127, club speed 95. It's just good. For me, that's good. Like, I don't expect any more than that with a 4 iron that is 23.5 degree. Remember, if we do go power loft in this, the loft does go down to 22 degrees. So that would probably get me another 5, 6, 7 yards maybe. Now, for me, that's basically the difference between a Titleist T100 and a Titleist T100S. All Ping are doing is saying, rather than releasing a whole new club effectively with a little bit different technology in it that the T100S offers, we're just going to the lofts down a bit and Bob's your uncle and Fanny's your aunt. That was towing. It's the longest one so far, spinning at 4.5. 205. I say longest one. It's similar, it's 1 yard, but still. I did enjoy playing this as well, and we'll look at the consistency of peak height and trajectory on these. It'll be 5 shots by the time I hit this. And that's one thing which I love in a 4 iron. There you go. And there's those consistencies in peak height, like I said. How straight is that for a 4 iron dispersion as well? Now comes the interesting bit. We're going to look at the difference between the iBlades and the i59s, and we're going to look at the difference in distance, in spin rate, in ball speed and all the rest, and see if all that technology that goes into the i59 really does make all the difference. And then I'll discuss the differences in feel and stuff like that as well. Let's take a look. So we'll kick things off with dispersion, and we'll start where we've just finished actually with the i59 4 iron. I absolutely love that. Yes, please. Now if we cycle over to the iBlade 4 iron, you can see that the dispersion's not quite as good. We had one that ballooned up, one was a little bit low left, but apart from that for 4 irons, really not too fussed with that. We move on to the 6 irons. This is the iBlade 6 iron, all a tiny bit left, but again, that's just my kind of shot. I'm drawing all those quite nicely. For me, my natural shot is that draw, so I would aim to the right side. However, we do look at the i59 6 iron, fairly similar, a little bit more central with one over to that left side, so clutching at hairs a little bit there. And as we look at the 8 irons, the iBlade 8 iron I didn't hit very well at all, We've actually taken that one out of the numbers because it was a shank, and there was one shank, as you saw with the i59s as well. I'll take those out just because I don't really care what the numbers do out of the hosel. i59, it was actually the same club, it was the A-tine as well. So you can see, not too bad at all. Numbers. So looking at all the results here, iBlade 4-iron, i59 4-iron, 204, 203, club speed 91 as opposed to 93.2 with the i59. However, the ball speed was higher with the iBlade and the spin was 100 more. i59 6-iron went 1 yard further than the iBlade 6-iron. We had 92.5 club head speed as opposed to just 90.7 club head speed with the iBlade. That can obviously be down to some inconsistencies in my swing because this isn't a robot test. This is my test, and ball speed's very similar, just 0.7 in it. The iBlade 8-iron went 2 yards further than the i59 8-iron. We had 0.1 club head speed more and 0.7 club head speed more. The spin rate was just 100 less, which is going to give it that tiny bit more distance. But how much of a difference on the course you would see from those numbers, I'm not really sure. I definitely felt like I struck the i59s better, to be honest. I was hoping for them to be exactly the same. There were a couple of mishits in there where I thought, that's actually kept its ball speed quite well. So is the MOI miles better than the iBlade? I don't think it's miles better, I think it's marginally better. I think I would personally go with, the problem is the price. The price of the i59s is astronomical. For a full set of 4-irons pitch and wedge, talking like 1,600, maybe up to 1,700 pounds. The other issue is you probably won't get hold of iBlades anymore to get fitted for them. I do recommend you go and get fitted for these, because if you do get fitted for these, I think you would probably end up going split set. I do like the look of the i59. I think if you're wanting that bladed look, you're definitely going to want to go and look at that. When I first ever tried the iBlade, I thought it's a little bit, for what it's trying to be, there's a little bit much there, isn't there? Whereas that seems to be quite stripped back with the i59, and it's all hidden under the hood, which is quite nice, apart from obviously the tungsten weight in the toe there. And that brings me on to my final point, feel. The i59s do feel softer than the iBlade for me personally, and I do like that. I like a soft feeling iron. Some people might not, that's personal preference, but for me, I think the feel of the i59 is better. What would I go for personally? I'd like to go for a fit-in, so I think it would probably be moving into the i59s, but then for me personally, I think the i210 almost has that covered. I would be looking at a split set between an i210 down to about a 7-iron, then 8-iron, 9-iron wedge potentially in the i59, even though I shanked a couple of 8-irons in there. So guys, make of that what you will. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, smash that subscribe button below. Leave us a like and let us know which clubs would you be moving into if you're a Ping fan in 2021, moving into 2022. And apart from that, guys, I'll very much look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Bye! Not many people should really be gaming the Blueprint iron at all.